What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, I almost didn't make it through that. It was close. I was getting the words all jumbled up there. We
Oh
were
boy,
very close to restarting this one, but I made it through.
you
We're good.
did. You did. It's a
How's it
good
going?
job by you. It's
Thank you.
good.
How's it going?
Yes, it's good. Good to
Baseball
see you.
season.
Yes, we're getting closer.
We are.
About a week
Hey,
away.
I know we're close. Waste Management Open this weekend in Phoenix.
Yes.
That's a good feeling. A lot of golf on right now for me. But yeah, getting even closer to baseball season. Pitchers and catchers report next week, which means we'll probably get swinging back into it 2 times a week next week, along with all the other baseball stuff we have going on. But we're gonna have even more to talk about. And we do have a lot to talk about today. I'm excited because we have some not breaking news, but we have news to talk about. I guess breaking news could happen a couple hours ago from when we were recording this now and when this podcast comes out. If you're watching this on Friday, then the news happened yesterday and you already know about it, hopefully. But we'll give our reactions to that. But I want to start this off with a question of the day for you. Big trade in the NBA. I want to bring it to the MLB because everybody else is doing it. We had the Luka trade. I'm just going to say Luka because I don't know how to say his last name, and I really don't care. But everybody was trying to figure out, like the NFL, the football, the soccer, the MLB equivalent. So what's the MLB equivalent to it? What do you got?
Oh boy.
It's kind of fun to think about. I originally my original thought was the I'm going to change it, but my original thought was the Adrian Gonzalez Josh Beckett trade to the Dodgers a while back, but I'm going to change it to the Mookie trade. I think that's as close as it gets. At least from like a one player standpoint. I know they didn't get a player like a superstar back. The Red Sox didn't, but um that's like the best I can think about. If Shohei got traded, maybe that, I guess. But Shohei didn't get traded. A Trout
I
trade?
feel I, I feel like it would have to be like a Mike Trout trade.
Yeah.
Um, and you would have to be getting back like um
Ronald Acuna. Somebody said Trout
it's
for
not
Acuna.
for who?
Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah, I guess that's about it. And then you would have some pieces with
Trout
Trout going back to
Trout for J-Rod.
Atlanta. No,
Um,
J-Rod's not big enough player yet.
yeah.
Acuna is probably the closest, honestly. It's probably Trout and, pros two prospects plus a draft pick for Acuna, but it doesn't feel great.
I don't know if there is an
Recent
equivalent.
no, recently I can't even think of a trade that would be close to what just happened. I guess maybe the
Miguel
last Juan Soto trade.
Miguel Cabrera trade
I,
going to
I would say
Detroit.
the last Juan Soto
Yeah.
trade to the Yankees. The Padres get Michael King in return. Um, it, it doesn't work out because Soto's young and the guys that the Yankees gave up are young. They didn't really. I guess they gave up Kyle Higashioka, but he's not really the Anthony Davis of that thing. So I don't know. It's hard because yeah, that's probably the closest realistic trade that we've seen to what it was.
Yeah. Well, if you're watching us here on YouTube, let us know in the comments down below what the equivalent is. I'm interested. I know the Luka trade happened not a while ago, a couple days ago, but I wanted to ask the question. I thought it was kind of a fun one because I don't think there really is an equivalent to it in the MLB, at least one that I can think of. I mean, you could probably make something up, but I can't think of one in the recent past that was just kind of superstar for superstar that kind of came out of nowhere like that. So, yeah, guys, thanks for watching us and listening to us here. If you could go ahead follow us on all our social medias, X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can follow myself on X at Jared_Timms, Nate at Nate Green 34. And guys, give us 1 second to pay the bills. Nate, all right, let's get it rolling. You know what we're going to talk about. At least you know this part. You might not know the next thing I got, and we might push the next thing back depending on how long this one goes. But you at least know what we're going to talk about here, and that is the news that the Angels signed Yoan Moncada to a 1 year, $5 million deal. Go ahead, give me. I don't know if I'm going to regret asking this, but give me your reactions to it. I want to know how you feel, and I'm sure everybody
That's
else wants to know how you feel about it.
I don't know why they want to hear what I say, but not I think a lot of people thought that this move was going to happen. They've been kind of waiting all off season for this move. Um, the one positive to this move, there's a couple positives to this move, but the one positive is it will actually bring some real competition to Anthony Rendon. which is what we've wanted the entire offseason. Is like we didn't want Anthony Rendon to go into the season like, oh hey, his competition, I guess in a weird roundabout way, is Christian Moore, who has never taken a professional at bat has never hit in Major League Baseball, and you know that's his competition because if he wins the job, then we can slide Rengifo over or whatever. It's like that's not real competition. That's hope. This feels like real competition where it's like, hey, if Rendon does not come ready to play opening day or, right when spring training comes, like there's a chance that he's not starting opening day. And if Moncada keeps playing well, there's a chance that Moncada just plays every day until the trade deadline, which, the downside to this is he does kind of remind you of Anthony Rendon. He hasn't played a lot of games the last couple of years. I think 3 years ago was the last time that he like played over 100 games. But I think 2 years ago, it's still way more games than Anthony Rendon has played. Like you would have to put two seasons together to get to 90, which is what he played a couple of years ago. So there is the injury concern. He does have some juice, which is nice. The switch hitting, left-handed bat, which he can hit the ball out to right center, which I know the Angels are looking for. So there are some positives. The negatives are always like, is he going to be healthy? Does he even really want to play? Because I know that there was even a question of that at the end of the years. Like, how much more do you really want to play? I know he's not that old, but from a guy who was supposed to be the next young superstar to being like a $5 million free agent sign in February, that's a way big down roll in from where he's been. So yeah, there's obviously some major risks. There's obviously some major reward parts to this, and I think it makes sense for the Angels because it's going to force Anthony Rendon to either be all in or be all out. And if Anthony Rendon's not all in, then it makes cutting him right now very, very easy. And who cares if there's 2 years left on his contract? Like, if you can't beat out a guy who played 12 games last year and had played 90 games a year before, which is kind of what Rendon has done, but like, if you can't beat that guy out in spring, then, you know, what good are you to us?
Oh, I mean, well, I'll say this. I would like to see Anthony Rendon be decent only because I like this as a depth move. I don't like Yoan Moncada starting. Just because of what you said. I mean, played 12 games last year, played 92 the year before, played 104 the year before that. The year before that, he played 144, but that was in 2021. So
Yeah.
it's been a while since he's played more than 105 games. So yeah, that's one tough thing. I'll say 1 for 5 for somebody who's been a pretty consistent, like if he's on the field. I know I've said this a lot about Anthony Rendon, but I can say probably the same thing about Yoan Moncada. If Yoan Moncada is going to be on the field, he helps out a team. He helps out the White Sox last year if he's on the field. I mean, the White Sox aren't a playoff team with Yoan Moncada by any means, but I mean, they trade him in July. He's a different player. He's getting probably a multi-million-dollar deal, multi-year deal if he's healthy, in a sense, because I mean, he's a good player. He really is. He's not bad by any means. So I'm excited about a 1 year, $5 million deal. You hope he puts up in between a 100 and a 110 WRC plus, hits 15 home runs. Plus, you have Ron Washington who might be able to help him with the defense a little bit too. A 1 year prove it deal. I mean, you might be able to trade him in July for something. You might be able to extend him. He pushes Anthony Rendon a little bit for sure. I'm quite pleasantly happy with this. I think I said it at the beginning of the offseason. This was one of my big targets. I kind of went away from it because I heard that during the where was he playing? He was playing down in the Dominican, I think, in the Dominican Winter League.
I
And
thought he was playing
oh
in Cuba, but yeah,
no,
one of
he was
those.
playing. He when there was something going on early in the off season. He was playing in it. Was it in Korea? Maybe was there something going on in Korea or Japan?
I think he was
Oh,
playing for Team Cuba in the Korean series.
yes. There was something going on at the beginning of the off season, and I had asked about. I was like, I mean, are there any Angels scouts there? Is it being scouted by the Angels? And the answer was yes. And I said, what about Yoan Moncada? And it was like, eh. And I think a report came out too that it was like Angels aren't looking at Yoan Moncada, which probably should have meant Angels are looking at Yoan Moncada. Um, but yeah, I mean, this was somebody again for me at the beginning of the offseason. I said, hey, I'd like to take a flyer at this guy for a lot of the reasons that you said. I mean, He was a superstar in the making. He's now 30 years old. There's just a lot of question marks here. You hope he stays healthy, but that's a lot of what the Angels, what we're hoping with this Angels team is like if they're healthy, like if Mike Trout's healthy, if Anthony Rendon's healthy, you can put this guy, you can put Yoan Moncada now on that list of, and what does this team look like if Moncada's healthy? Zach Neto's coming into the offseason with an injury. So there's still a lot of question marks here for this Angels team, but I do like the signing, Nate, and it sounds like you like the signing as well, which I'm sure the fans here are gonna be very interested in because you don't like a lot of things, man. So I'm
Well,
proud of you. Look at you.
we're hoping that he puts up Jeimer Candelario national numbers, like 250, 16 homers before the All-Star break, or before the trade deadline, and then gets traded at the trade deadline when the Angels are,
Yeah.
50
And
and 75 or
I'd,
whatever.
I'd, I'd actually, I don't, there's no way to bet on this, but I'd put money that something like that happens if he stays healthy, of course. I want to see him stay healthy, man. That's what we're going to be talking about all season long is, man. Like if they stay healthy, what does this team look like? Because I want to know what this team looks like healthy because I want to know what they have going into 2026. That's when I think the window starts opening up here. And it's actually a pretty good segue into the last thing I wanted to talk about, and that was the baseball prospectus. PECOTA projections came out a couple days ago as well around the Luka trade time, but I wanted to talk about that here. They gave the Angels, I think, a 2% chance of making to the playoffs. That's besides the point. They gave them 76 wins as their projection. I'd have to go and look. I'm sure I posted it last year what their PECOTA projections were, or it's probably on that site. I'm sure it was probably around that. It might have been a little bit worse. It might have been a 72 win team. Regardless, I'm I'm indifferent with 70. Is that a good thing if they win seven? Are you happy with 76 wins? I know you're not going to
No,
be happy. I know you want to
no,
be a 500 team, but I think I'm
yeah.
happy with gaining 13 games because I don't think they've gained 20 games. Because to
I,
be a 500 team, you have to, I mean, 18. I don't think they have 18. I don't think they've gained 18
I,
wins this offseason.
I don't care what you think they've gained. I care like we're we're still we're still grading Perry and we're still grading Artie. We're still grading what they're putting on the field. And like this is Perry's what, fourth, fifth year? Like
I don't know. You do the math on it.
he has yet to be a 500. He has yet to even be 500. Like for us to sit here and be like, "Oh yeah, great job team. You finished, 10 games under 500, 8 games under 500, whatever it is." Like for us to sit here and be like, "Hey, great job for this team to finish 8 games under 500." Like no, that's absolutely ridiculous. Like you went out and you spent money this offseason, like not a lot of money, but like you spent a good amount of money. You spent it on you say Kikuchi, you spent a couple on Kyle Hendricks, you spent a couple more on Moncada, you spent a little bit more on Soler. Like it's not like there've been, the Minnesota Twins, the St. Louis Cardinals, where it's like Minnesota Twins made like their first real move 3 days ago. The St. Louis Cardinals made their first real move today. It's like it's not what they are. So for us to sit here and praise a 72 win team is awful.
76 wins. And again, I'd be happy with
76.
that coming off a 99 loss season. I'm okay with that. I prefer them be a 500 team. Um, when do we start looking at Perry's tenure in two separate parts? Pre-Shohei or Shohei and post-Shohei? Because the Shohei era was all about winning, and now you're rebuilding. When do you separate that, Nate?
I don't think you do separate it, honestly.
Why?
Like I know you're gonna because his job is to win baseball games, whether he has Shohei Ohtani on the roster or not, his job is to win baseball games. And he has had enough time now to be able to rebuild with the way that he wants to do it. And
He's had 1 year to rebuild without Shohei Ohtani in the way that he
this is
wants to do it
two.
because
This
team
is two.
fine, this is the second full year. This is the
Mhm.
second this he has had 1 full year. He is now working on his second full year of
Well,
of
we're at
rebuilding
the
without
we're at
Shohei
February
Ohtani
6th. It's 2
and
years.
without being able to trade Shohei Ohtani. Because I think that all smart baseball people wanted to trade Shohei Ohtani and rebuild the farm system. And I think that it's fair to say this. I think that the people that wanted the money wanted to keep Shohei around. Which there are two separate thoughts on this because, and I don't want to go down this road about Shohei, but because we're talking about PECOTA standings or PECOTA projections, but I mean, we asked the question a couple weeks ago. If the Angels kept Shohei and kept bringing that money in, do they get Yamamoto? Do they get Sasaki? Do they build that? I don't
No,
know.
no.
You can probably say no, but I mean it goes pre Shohei too, right? Like if you're doling out if you're willing to go spend the money to go build winners, I mean whether that's with Billy, whether that's with Jerry, whether that's with Perry, if you're willing to spend the money to go build a winner. I said it the last year with Shohei. I said, why didn't you just go out and get every good free agent on? Why didn't you pull a Dodgers and show him that you wanted him to stick around? You could have done that. You could have done that. You could have went and got
I
Scherzer.
mean, they
You could have
spent
went and
more
got
money
Verlander.
than they've ever spent
That's you
before. So
you didn't well you didn't go and you didn't put up enough though. You went and got the bare minimum to be like, well, Shohei, we might be trying to win. And then you were about a 500 team when at the trade deadline. And it was like, well, we're going to go halfway in and do this. You know, we're going to give away our prospects that
halfway,
we
I
really
mean,
don't have. So
they went full in at the deadline, and it didn't work out, and they had to
you
let go of guys.
realistically you
But they
can't go full in with the prospects that they have. If you're the Dodgers, you can go full in. If you have good prospects, if you're willing to put up money, if you're willing to develop those guys, those prospects into something, then yes, I would say yeah, you have those pieces to go full in. But I mean, you got a guy like Lucas Giolito. I mean, you got other guys. It was like, you pulled off CJ Crone. You didn't go get the big names that are going to help you win.
Giolito was a big
You
name
got
at
the
the
names.
at the
You got the
deadline.
names that were okay. You got the names that were par. That was like, okay, we have a chance to go win. And then you look around that time after the trade deadline, we were dreading it. It was like, damn, they made the wrong decision there. This
Of
is such
course.
a tough schedule. But it's before Shohei too, right? It's the development of prospects. It's everything before that too. Like if you show that you want to win, it's a little bit different. It hasn't been that way. You haven't shown that you really want to full out win. You've thrown money at players. You've thrown money here and there. You've gone half in, but you really need to go full in. And I don't care about I wouldn't care about the Lux tax. I mean, it is what it is, you know. And I know
Yeah,
that
because you're not footing the bill. Of course, we're not going to care about the Lux tax because we're not footing the bill.
if
But
you're close, if you have Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani with,
but they weren't
if you
close.
have
They
some of
weren't
the lineups that
close.
you have, if you have some of the lineup, if you have some of the lineups that you have, you think that you'd foot the bill to go maybe try to develop some prospects. You'd foot the bill to, hey, maybe I'm gonna go ahead and get a pitcher or two. They didn't sign any pitching. No, they didn't go out and do that. They didn't develop prospects. They didn't build a team around those two guys. They were like, "Hey, we're gonna go halfway in. We're kind of there." And it's been happening for the last five. It's been happening for the past like 12, 10 years, however long you want to say it. They've been going halfway in, and that's been our biggest complaint forever. Is it's like, they're half. They could be good. They might be decent. And now we're seeing the ramifications of that. There's no prospects in the org. They have to push them up really quickly because the minor league systems can't develop where they're at. So I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces there. So I mean, if you're willing to go in on it, I'm not saying spend billions of dollars like the Dodgers because you can't do that. I agree with that. You can't do that. You don't have the money to do that. But you need to be able to do something right. And the Angels, I mean, haven't been able to do anything right.
PECOTA had them. So just for fun, because you're saying that they weren't a contender at the going into the season, on
When
paper, which
when
the 3 years with Shohei. Okay. 87 since 21, 87 wins, 88 wins, 86 wins.
Is that a play?
So
Are those
those are
playoff teams though? Were those playoff teams?
88 wins is playoff team.
No, no, no. Were they playoff teams or were there teams that were better than them? Were they winning the AL West?
They weren't winning the AL West.
No,
No, but like
no.
winning 88 games get you into the playoffs.
And they weren't willing. That's my point though. They weren't willing to go above and beyond to go make that happen. Like we can talk about the projections all we want, but they weren't willing to go above and beyond to make that happen. Like, and you hope moving forward, 2026 and beyond, they have the depth to go and push it. Like if they want to go get Vlad, if they want to go get Bellinger, if they want to go get this guy, Cease, Michael King, if they want to go get those guys, they need to be able to go get above and beyond. Like, and they want to make it to the playoffs. That's what's got to happen, man. Like at the end of the day, they have the backbone to do it. Now you have to build it all the way around. You can't just be like, well, we have these pieces here and there. Like 2026, I might turn into you, Nate, because that's when I think that you need to start really pushing it in. You really got to
How
start
long are we
digging
going to
in,
give
man.
Perry the benefit of the doubt? How long? Like he
I've
had
never
two of the
given Perry the
greatest play.
benefit of the doubt. I'm just not gonna.
Hey,
I've
hey,
told you the team
I
on the
really,
field is
I
Perry. I
really want
told you the
everyone to
team on
put
the
in the
field is
comments,
Perry's
has
fault.
Jared ever, please put in the comments, has Jared ever give Perry the benefit of the doubt? Because on here he has. And I just want you guys, I just want him to be able to read it and be like, okay, yeah, I have given Perry the benefit of the doubt. I mean, you started this segment
I
by
said
saying,
it.
when do we separate into two separate things to give him a benefit of the doubt of like,
Nate,
well, he lost the
Nate,
best player in baseball, so let's give him three
Nate,
years to rebuild this thing. It's like, no,
Nate.
you should have been able to put this team in a position to be good pre and post Shohei. If you lose Shohei, you lose Shohei. But you
I've
didn't
said
put
it.
this team
I've said it for
in a
years
good
now.
position. You're
The
signing
team on
Tyler Anderson. You're signing Brandon Drury. You're signing Noah Syndergaard. Like those aren't winning players. He hasn't been good in signing free agents. He's been fine in bringing guys up, and those guys have. Shanuel's been whatever. Neto's been very good. Ohapi trade was great, but his free agency he's missed on
right.
90% of his free
Yes.
agents, and that's we're going to sit here and be like, oh, hey, guess that's not Perry's fault. That's Artie's fault for not letting him go get better players because oh, we didn't give him enough money. Like that's not
At the
good.
end of the
Like
day, at the end of the day, it is Artie's fault. In
course,
period, it is
of course,
100% his fault. The team
Perry
that is
give
put on
Perry
the
the benefit of the
field,
doubt.
the team that is put on the field is Perry's fault. 100% there too. But at the end of the day, overviewing everything with the position the Angels are in right now is Artie Moreno's fault. 1,000% his fault. If you let baseball guys do baseball things, good things happen. You haven't been able to let baseball
You
guys
don't
do.
think Perry's in charge of this org?
I do think he's in charge of this org
Yeah.
to an extent.
If
Just
Artie
like Billy was
was
in charge of the org to an
no no
extent.
no 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 no
There's
no
handcuffs on
Perry
every
has
one of
a
these guys, man.
Perry's leash is 10 times longer than Billy's leash. If
That's fine. It's 10
if
times
Artie
longer.
was in
There's still
charge of this
handcuffs,
team,
man. There's still handcuffs
if
on.
every team has handcuffs, every team has
Oh, no, no, no.
handcuffs.
Not every
Yes.
team has handcuffs, man.
The
Good
only
teams,
team that does
good
the
good
only
teams
team
let
that does not have
good.
handcuffs is the Dodgers. That's the
Okay.
only team that doesn't have handcuffs. Every other team has handcuffs. Look, you're going to say Tampa Bay Rays, they have handcuffs. They're not allowed to spend money. Uh,
Mhm,
Baltimore hasn't been able to spend money.
mhm.
Pittsburgh hasn't been able to spend money. Those are handcuffs. Whether you like it or not, those are handcuffs, and teams are able to win games with those handcuffs. We can sit here and blame Artie all we want. We can sit here and blame Perry all we want, but it's like the team on the field sucks. And we can't sit here and be like, oh, it's all Artie's fault that Perry's bad at his job. Like Perry hasn't been good. So like let's call a spade and say that Perry hasn't done a good enough job. He has not been good at getting free agents here. He sat here last offseason and said, oh, everyone wants to play in Anaheim. Apparently not. If Artie was running this team right now, Pete Alonso would be an angel. Alex Bregman would be an angel. Like one of those guys would be an angel because that is Artie's MO. Artie would go out and get a big name hitter, whether he fits the team or not. That's Artie's MO, and neither of those guys are angels.
I don't think that's the case, man. I really don't. We've talked
You
about it a
don't?
lot off the record.
What about 3 years ago when Trey Turner was a free agent?
I think already give you that mistake there. They should have signed a shortstop that year. And we were saying, and I've been
But
saying
I'm
for
just saying, if Artie was in control of this team, Trey Turner would 100% be an angel right now. Correct?
no.
No.
Artie gets what Artie wants. I think that I think that other stuff happened there. I would have signed a short. I 100% would have gone out and signed a shortstop that year. That was the year before they drafted Neto. 100%. Or maybe that was the year after. I would have done that.
They did
I
draft
will
Neto
give you.
that year.
I will give you. I give you that. I would have signed a shortstop. We were saying that for a while. But again, at the end of the day, I do blame Perry for the team that's on the field. I'll say that. I mean, that's the team that's on the field. Everything else, Artie's fault. At the end of the day, like I mean,
All I care about
there are
is the
so
team on the field winning games.
I know,
So
I know, and we were gifted as Angels fans for being the Angels were the Dodgers for 10 years, man. They really were. Yes, they were. The
they
Angels
were not
were the
spending
Dodgers.
that kind of money.
They don't need to spend that. They didn't need to spend that type of money. They were winning games. That's what I
Yeah, but
mean
you
by
can't
that.
sit here and say the
The
Angels were the
Angels,
Dodgers if they're not spending in the top 15 in Major League Baseball on money. They were
the
bottom half of the
Angels,
league in money.
the
They were Tampa Bay rate. They were closer to Tampa Bay than they were the Dodgers.
The Angels were one of the best teams in baseball for about 10 straight years, man. They were very similar to the Dodgers. They were going out and spending money still. They signed Bartolo Colon, they signed Weaver to extensions, they signed Vlad. They spent money. They did spend money. You want to know the difference between
Those are
that
Artie's
and
moves, by
now?
the way.
You want to know the difference between that and now? The prospects, man, and building a good team internally. That's the biggest difference. If you go look at the front office and you go look at those guys there, that's the biggest difference, man. I'm telling you right now. Like at the end of the day, like you can blame Ron Washington, you can blame Perry, but there is an overlying factor here, and man, that is Artie Moreno. I don't want to don't like getting into this because everybody hates it and people hate this type of podcast because we just talked about Yoan Moncada, but at the end of the day, man, it's Artie's fault.
Sure.
There's only one common factor to everything in the past 10 years. Angels not making the playoffs 10 straight years, and that is Artie Moreno being in charge of this team. Artie Moreno owning this team.
Perry's been the one putting guys on the field. It's been bad.
That's fine. That's
It
fine.
is what it is.
Yeah, 100%. But
And
there are
so why would we
factors.
separate his GM? Like, no, your job is to win baseball games. Whether you have the best player in the world or you have the second best player in the world or you have none of them. Your job is to win baseball games. And your job is to figure out a way to win baseball games no matter who's on the team. And he has not done that. He hasn't even been able to get 500, which is very embarrassing. Like there are teams that like accidentally win 81 games and they haven't won 81 games in 5 or 6 years, like so. And just for you on the PECOTA standings, the Angels have been uh plus or minus, they've been expected 10 wins more than they've actually gotten. So that number of 76 would put them right around that 66, 67 mark if you were to continue with PECOTA being around 8 to 10 to 12 off of what their actual win total is.
Okay. So let us know your thoughts here, guys. Whose fault it is. If you like the PECOTA standing or PECOTA projections, if you like the Yoan Moncada signing as well, I think it's going to help the Angels this year. So Nate, give me some positive before we let everybody go here.
I already did. I told you the Moncada signing's fine.
Good job. I'm proud of you. Look at you, man, being positive. We're gonna have to get the locked
Sure.
on guys on here to make you a little bit more positive. But
Not going to happen.
yeah, well, I don't know. We're gonna have to get them
Well,
on,
they're
man.
they're going to come on, but it's not going to make me more positive.
So, with all that being said, guys, go ahead and follow us on all our social medias, X, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow myself on X at Jared_Tim's Nate at NateGreen34. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.